Corvolic V2. This is a super safe and effective natural anabolic. Not only is this product going to help you increase protein synthesis, which basically means muscle recovery and growth, it also may inhibit myostatin, which is a protein in your body that is known to inhibit muscle growth. This is a complete natural anabolic that works through multiple different pathways, has multiple trademarked ingredients. If you are a natural athlete looking for that edge, Corvolic V2 is what you need. Get yourself some.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Pro Physique Code. And today we're just going to start off with congrats to Lexi, who just snuck on stage.
Thank you. Yeah, some of my clients and some people knew that I was aiming for this, but I just didn't really share with a lot of people. I think part of it, and I think you guys can understand as coaches, is I always say I think I'm a coach first and an athlete second, and I never want my athletes to know that I'm in prep. Not that I don't want them to know I'm in prep, but I never want my athletes to feel like they can't come to me because oh, coach is in peak week. You know what I mean? And I just felt like I'm a bit of a nervous Nelly and I put a lot of pressure on myself. So for me, it was just so much better kind of keeping things on the DL. And yeah, so, every show's a learning experience. And I feel like I've learned in the past, putting things out there saying, oh, I'm X weeks out from this show, that just doesn't work for me. It just puts extra pressure on me that I don't need. So yeah. But nonetheless, it was love Republic of Texas. It was a fantastic show. Very late for Bikini. I mean, we did not go on until 8:30,
So
judging.
you didn't go on till 8:30, but you were out the door by 10. And so it was late. But the other part of that is you didn't have to get up and do prejudging at 9 and then come back.
Yes, that was
So I talked to Bernadette, who is the promoter. She owns Galvanized Production, Rockfit on Instagram. She's also a pro judge, and when you talk to her, she's just so passionate and and she was asking me as a coach, what do you think about this format? What do you like? What do you not like? And so she's really trying to make this show and all her shows the best they can possibly be. I don't really understand why it went so long when they had all the men in the morning, then the pros in the middle, then women at night. It dragged a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think what happened is because when I saw the format of the show, because at the athlete check-ins, Bernadette said the same thing. She's like, I've been going to a lot of shows, I've been kind of studying and seeing what works, what doesn't, and I decided to do this format, where it was half the divisions in the morning, half at night. And in theory, oh my gosh, I was so excited because I was like, oh, that's going to be nice for me and all the bikini athletes. We get to have a slow morning, right? And it's nice when the guys go in in the morning because they don't have as much to do when it comes to the glam to get ready. But I think what happened is that finals are the second part of the show. So they called it, what was it? Dawn. I don't know.
Dawn of the Republic. It was
yeah.
confusing because they actually had a different name for the morning session and the evening session. It was
Dawn of the Republic and then Dusk of the Republic or something, right?
Yeah.
But I think what happened is, and this generally happens at every bodybuilding show, is it's they run behind, right? So they didn't end up starting the second part of the show. It was supposed to start at 4. They didn't end up starting until 5:30. So that naturally just made it longer and it got a really late start. So I think that's part of what happened.
I honestly think it's because the pro classes were so big. There was more than 45 in men's physique and in bikini, and the over 40 masters classes were massive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I mean, congrats to Raina, who got first in the bikini pro lineup. I mean, 46, 47 bikini pros. And it was so funny because I did not have a great seat in the ballroom to watch bikini pros because it was so full. I was in the very back, but her physique is so incredible in person. Paul, I remember you telling me this last year when you saw her in person. You were like, she is just captivating in person. And believe me, the pictures, I mean, she looks good in pictures, but if you have not seen her in person, she is 10 times better in person. I just don't know how to explain it.
So here's how I explain it, Lexi. Most competitors, when you're backstage, when they're just standing there relaxed, they're not flexing, they're not posing, they're just standing there, their butts disappear.
Yeah.
You
right?
do.
Yeah.
The only two girls that I've ever, and listen, I may be wrong, but like the only two girls prior to Raina that I've stood backstage and just saw them there having a conversation, not posing, and their glutes were still massive, were Ashley Kaltwasser
Yes.
and Ariana Brothers. I literally have a picture on my phone that I sent to her husband. She was just standing there talking to someone, and I was like, "This, like, she has Miss Olympia glutes just standing there.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to arch." And Raina last year at, it was the first year they had the pro show at Junior Nationals. I had never seen her before, never heard of her. I think she's from Mexico. I just looked over and I was like, "Oh, wow, that's different." When you have the upper division, the perky glutes from the back just standing there, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this girl on stage." And sure enough, she won. And so when I see her name on any list, that's just something as a competitor, you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching, I don't know if you follow this page on Instagram, it's Sky. It's like this old lady and she goes around to like all the shows and makes inappropriate comments and stuff. It's hilarious. And there was one years ago where she walked up and made a comment to like Ashley Kaltwasser. And I remember seeing her in that video being like, her physique is just standing there,
Yeah.
right? Just standing there, being like, she does not look like other people.
That's the first time I saw her in person
Incredible.
backstage at a show. She was at the same pro show as one of my athletes. And you see her and you go, "Oh, that's Ashley Kaltwasser. She's Miss Bikini Olympia 3 times,
Yeah.
all this stuff, right?" And then you're kind of like, "Okay, but why?" And then you literally just see her glutes, you go, "Oh, that's just different." So when
Yeah.
judges are like, "You want more upper glutes," you go, "That's why, because of girls like her that have it." Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, you're right. You're so right, Paul. I mean, I have this discussion a lot with my lifestyle clients because I'll get lifestyle clients that are like, why don't like my glutes will never look like a bikini athlete's, and I have to always explain it to them. I'm like, you'd be very surprised when you're backstage with competitors, even pros, like people that look like they have some of the best glutes on stage. Backstage sometimes, they like just relaxed and normal. It doesn't look like much, right? Like
No,
there's
no.
not a ton of pop in profiles. So I try to always explain that to my lifestyle athletes because I think it is important, like realistically, to know those glutes that girls are showcasing on stage, like they don't, that's because they're arching their back. They have that interior pelvic tilt, right? Like that is a little bit of an illusion. We always say posing is an illusion. So it's like, that's why I think it's good for everybody. Like go to a show and you can really see what these girls look like off stage too. Cause I think it puts things into a little bit better of a, limelight.
Yeah.
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 And to be fair, just because someone doesn't look like their glutes look great backstage doesn't mean when they walk out they have the ability to. Daraja was someone who her posing completely, like if you just saw Daraja walk by, you wouldn't think much of her in her like t-shirt and shorts, but when she hits a pose, you're like, where did that come from? It's like,
Yeah.
so posing and structure are also genetically, like you can really make things look crazy. So yeah, it's just, you just as a coach, you just notice things backstage sometimes. And so I saw her twice last year. I saw her at the whatever they call that show that's at Junior Nationals. It's a pro show, but I forget the name of it.
Pro
Uh,
bikini classic, something like that.
yeah. And
World
then
class.
I saw her a few weeks later at Republic, and Ashlyn beat her, but she looked way flatter, like way either she had put on body fat or she just looked significantly different. And so this year when I saw her name on the list, when we were backstage, because I had three girls in that pro division, so I was back there watching them all. I saw her, I was like, "Oh, it's over. It's
Yeah.
it's done. Show's done." When
Yeah.
when you see someone backstage, you could just tell.
And when you look like that too, like, it's easy to pose, right? Like when everything's there, you just
Yeah.
you don't have to create illusion because it's
No,
all
no,
right. It's all
and
there.
actually, I think the knock on her last year, because I talked to a couple of the judges about her, I said, "Oh, why this, why that?" Her upper body was a little behind. She
Yeah.
brought the upper body up. So don't be surprised if she's a top 5 at the Olympia this year. She's got that X factor.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very impressive in person. Wow. Yeah, I was like, wow, she's just the pictures. She looks great, but in person, wow, she looks 10 times better. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about your day, Lexi, because I think we're going to discuss some of the differences between, the bikini division and fit model now that we've got a lot more shows under our belt, right? That was kind of our focus today.
yeah, I think that this is a good time. I mean, we're literally in the smack dab middle of the year. We've had a lot of shows thus far. A lot of pivotal shows, and I think we kind of want to discuss, like, as coaches, we've noticed, just trends in fit model and in bikini, just things we've noticed, you know, by going to shows and being there,
Yeah.
and just kind of talk a little bit about that now that we're, gosh, 6+ months into the year. So, which is kind
Well,
of
let's
crazy.
talk a little bit about your experience first because you stayed in bikini.
Yeah, so so as of right now, yes. Now naturally, like, I am a very petite person, and I know that about myself. I'm a hard gainer, and you know, I've, not to go too thick into this like conversation, but there's, you know, there's certain things like I'm not willing to go the super enhanced route just to put on all that size. And you know, I know that I have a hard time growing, and I know that I am smaller for the bikini division. But I think my biggest thing this year was like, you know, and I'm not going to say never at all, but I still feel like there's a little bit of variance in like what is rewarded in fit model, which totally makes sense, right? It's a new division. I think the judges are still trying to kind of figure out what it is that they want. And I think furthermore, like we've touched on this before in the podcast, because there is no pro fit model shows yet, right? We don't have this like clear cut criteria.
Right.
So I think my thought process behind it for myself personally has been, you know, I didn't want to get into it with there not being like such like a clear cut criteria like bikini, right? I think we can all attest to the fact that bikini, it's a lot like for us coaches, like it's a lot easier to pinpoint on stage. Oh, okay, this girl, she's gonna be in first, you know, this girl's gonna be, you know, last call outs or whatever it may be. With fit model, it's a little bit more nuanced and harder, right? So I think that was more of my thought process behind why I just chose to stay in bikini. And honestly, I was like, there's, you know, what's there to lose? I can always get feedback from the judges and ask them specifically too. And it was great at Republic of Texas. I'm sure you saw this, Paul. Bill was just like hanging out backstage and at finals. And I was surprised there was not a lot of people going up to him. So it was easy to get feedback. But yeah, so never say never. You know, I'm very interested in seeing how Fit Model continues to evolve. And I think we'll have
Well,
a little.
share with us your feedback.
Oh, my feedback. So I went up to Bill after finals, and he basically just said, he's like, I think his words verbatim, he's like, great structure, great lines, great shape. He's like, I just want to see more of you. So like just more density, more size. And again, I've kind of known I've always been like a very petite person and a hard gainer. And so I kind of suspected that, but it's always good to hear it from him. And he even suggested trying out a couple things like posing like really hard to kind of like I refrain from saying this because I don't want bikini girls to think they need to start doing this, but like flaring my lat in my front pose, he suggested that just to create a little bit more like muscle illusion. But yeah, that was my feedback. So just more of me in Bill's words. So yeah,
Yeah.
so you know, we'll see
It's
how Fit Model evolves.
They moved you around quite a bit. I mean, you started off on one side, then you went to the other side, and then at the very end they just put you right in the middle. So that's
Yeah.
a testament to you posing properly, getting notice on both sides of the stage.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I think at the very end when they brought us all out in the lineup, I was like the last one on the lineup just with the numerical order. And then I had to remind myself too, as I always tell my clients, pose towards the head judge because you always want to like angle yourself in. And that always feels kind of awkward. But then yeah, they moved me in one and then towards the middle at the very end. So yeah, so we'll see. I mean, like I said, I really like bikini, and I don't know, I really love bikini. So we'll see what Fit Model does. And, you know, again, never say never. I've had a couple people ask about like Fit Model and my thoughts on if I'd ever do it. So we'll see. Yeah. So that's kind of, I know that's not a super specific answer, but yeah,
Well, you're kind
it's
of my
funny.
good luck charm.
I'm your good luck charm.
Yeah.
Why?
Do you not recognize why?
No.
What was the last show you did?
Tampa.
Yep. Think about it.
So like, I'm just a good luck charm.
I already
'Cause
know
you
the answer to this.
usually get an overall at the
You got the
show.
overalls, yeah.
So who won the overall when you did Tampa?
Oh yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Ashton. And then who won the overall this weekend?
Yeah,
Valen.
I had a little good luck charm. I brought,
So could I get you to do USA's, please?
no, I'm not going to
Come
Vegas.
on, let's see.
No. Or no,
Help me get my
sorry,
overall
not,
in
I
USA.
mean, hey, if you want me to fly out with you, and I mean,
There's only two national shows I haven't won the overall at, and one is USA's. So if you could help me get that, I'd be grateful.
well, I mean, yeah, I guess I brought a little good luck charm. It's funny because I always hear people talk about how they have like, I don't know, these like backstage rituals or good luck charms. And I brought, so it's funny because a, a couple months ago I was in the gym and I found this little, gosh, I wish I had him right now. I could show it, but this little like baby, it's like this little baby Jesus, like tiny little thing. And it says Jesus loves you. And I found it on the gym floor. And it was not anybody's. I mean, I wouldn't have just taken it if I thought it belonged to somebody that was looking for it. But I put
Thief.
it in my gym bag and then I brought it to the show backstage and it's going to be my little good luck charm. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
But
One
yeah.
thing I think is interesting, Lexi, is you were talking about like flaring your lat, and I found with a few girls recently with it, if you can flare your lat and it doesn't look forced and can create more shape, it's a
That's it.
super smart thing to do.
Yeah.
One of them was my client Denise. You know her, Paul.
Hmm.
She competed for her first shows last year, incredible structure. And I just told her, I said, hey, I just want you to flare your lat a little bit in the front pose. The moment she did that, I was like, you went from like winning a regional show to being getting a look at a national show. The amount of shape it created in her. So as long as it doesn't look forced and like bodybuilder like, I think it can really enhance a lot of people's physiques, especially because a lot of people say just don't flare the lat, don't flare the
Well,
lat.
look at the pros. I know, because I look for it to see who's doing it, and girls with smaller frames that don't necessarily have big upper bodies can do it and create shape. If you
Yeah,
have too much muscle, then it looks like a figure front pose. So,
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
who was at this show this weekend that stood out to me that does it really well is Kate Carroll, the New Zealand young lady who's been to the
Yeah.
Olympia. She has a nice, really nice front pose where her lat is popping, but she keeps her arm close to her body and it creates that taper for her. So yeah, like it depends a lot on, your muscularity. You can't, and also where you put your arm. If you put your arm way out, it doesn't benefit you. You got to keep the arm close to the body so the shape is more visible.
yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like that, and then also like the biggest thing that comes to mind for me too is, and I played around with this a lot, is just like having a really aggressive like arch into or like anterior pelvic tilt or arch, like kind of sinking into your hip pretty aggressively in that front pose.
Mhm.
But it's like you have to be careful when you do that too, because you also don't want your waistline to distend
yeah,
out. So it's like you want to have a lot of that hypermobility in your low back, because I think Lauralee is a great example of somebody who like she arches really hard in her front pose, but it looks natural when she does it. But I think that can really help with adding a little bit more of that like shape overall. So yeah, I mean, I was so grateful that I was able to get that feedback from Bill, because like I was so grateful that he was just literally standing backstage, like nobody was going up to him, and I was like, that's kind of weird. He was just standing back there. So yeah, got feedback, and that was great. So, and I feel like that can even be kind of a, I don't know if this, I would say this is a trend, but like, not that this is new this year, but like a trend in just in competing is like getting your judges feedback. Like the judges generally will stay after. In fact, I've noticed a lot of judges this year at shows saying we're not giving email feedback. So if you want feedback, like talk to us in person after the show.
They actually did that at Universe. The first time I've ever, no one stayed after at Universe. Now, granted, these are long days. The judges were at the judges table at
yeah,
Republic of Texas from 8 a.m. until almost 11 p.m. Now, the nice thing that Bill did was, because they don't judge finals except for the overalls, a lot of times the head judges will do this, and Bill did this. He came backstage, so as people were coming off stage after their routines for finals, they could get feedback, um, as long as they were done. So yeah, like, so he knocked out a lot of it by the time, and even to the point where some of the pros were still about around backstage getting feedback with the NPC competitors. He stayed for everybody, so that's huge. Because yeah,
Yeah.
I've had, I won't name any judges' names, but I have athlete check in today and said, "Hey, I was supposed to email this judge. It's been 3 weeks. I haven't heard back." And I'm just like, "Listen,
yeah,
they have been at 3 shows since then, and this judge you're talking about, I know this person was in a different country since then, and they have regular jobs. Judges
yeah.
don't make a living judging. They go to work Monday through Friday. They get on a plane, they fly to a city, they judge, they go back to work Monday. So you're looking at a regular person during the week that has to do their job. They don't have, and we're talking about hundreds of people emailing them for feedback. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's big.
Judging is a thankless job that they don't get paid a lot to do, and they travel all over the place to do it.
They
And
love it's all
yeah,
about passion. You can see it when they talk to the athletes because their eyes light up. So let's talk about,
yeah,
well, let's talk about the show this weekend because um, I think I have my next little superstar in the making in Christina Sangor, who made her
Oh,
pro
yeah.
debut this weekend. So Christina made her pro debut. She turned pro at 2023 at Nationals. This was our third show together, her fifth show of her life. And um, she did not get in the initial first call out, which was 8. They brought her out. So what they did was they brought the first call out of 8. They took 4 off. They brought her out and ended up moving her near the middle. So I was like, oh, we're going to be fighting for 5th or 6th. They moved her back out. I thought she finished 11th. They moved her back in at finals. They did the confirmation round and moved her back into the 8-9 position. She finished at 10th. But still, to make top 10 in a 47 lineup person lineup, and she beat multiple Olympians. Like, um, yeah, I was very excited to see her up there. And one of the judges told me she was the favorite athlete at the whole show. They're like, this girl is it. Like she's got that what we're looking for. And I was like, okay, well then why was she 10th? But she's still got some work to do. She gets, her posing, she the endurance wasn't there. I think we need to be a little bit tighter and fuller. So we're looking at our next show to do that. But like just overall, it was fun to witness. That was a sick lineup.
Oh my
Might be
God.
the best pro lineup I've seen this year.
I think I saw
huge.
that it
Well,
was,
Pittsburgh was obviously stupid because it was Pittsburgh, but like, or the
yeah.
Arnold, but like outside of those shows, this was the deepest first call out.
Yeah, I mean, and it just said that it's a testament to the production that Bernadette puts on. Like, there is a reason. I mean, I've had people ask, like, why'd you go to Texas for a show? Like, I like to choose shows that are like, it's a whole production. Like, if you've never been to Republic of Texas, like, it's hard to understand the caliber of this show, but like, Bernadette goes above and beyond. Like, even down to, I don't know if you saw this, Paul, but she mentioned this at athlete check-ins. On all the medals on the back there's like a Bible verse, which I thought was really cool, but like she just goes above and beyond for the athletes, and I think athletes have picked up on that, and I mean, I would assume that has a little bit to do with why it was such a big lineup for the pro show.
I tell people outside of the Olympia, the Arnold, this is the best show to go to. As an
Agree.
athlete, as somebody attending, they make the show like, so I had 2 girls making their pro debut and we go to check-ins on Friday and we're sitting there and they're, it's hoopla. They have 40 chairs on the stage. They call everybody up one by one. Freddie knows their backstory. He knows who's a pro debut. And my one athlete comes back and sits down next to me. She goes, "Man, this is awesome. Is this how pro shows are?" And I was like, "No, no." I go, "You're gonna be the bar is so freaking high right now. The next time you do a pro show and they just throw a number at you and say, 'See you in the morning,' you're gonna be like, 'Wait, what?'" So like, yeah, it feels like you're at a big event.
Mhm.
Laura Lee shows up. She's
Yeah.
doing live stream. She's backstage meeting the athletes. She's on stage handing out trophies. They had Aaron Banks was there doing the same thing. It just, all the Manions are there. It just feels like an event when you have that type of thing. And that ballroom is amazing.
Oh, it is nice. Yeah, it is nice. And something else, like, yes, you mentioned the Manions being there. Something else I thought was really like just a cool little touch of this show is like how Debbie Mannion sits in the middle, and she, like, I don't know how she does it, but she is taking those pictures every time, like the call outs, even for the amateurs, like she's taking the pictures of the call outs, immediately uploading them to NBC News Online. And like that's just a really cool touch, especially for the amateur shows. I know that they typically do that at like the pro shows or even national shows, but like that was just a really cool touch. And gosh, I don't know how she does it, how she sits there and literally takes those pictures of every call out and posts them so like quickly, but gosh, that was
It is
powerful
fun
work.
as a coach to open up my Instagram after like, prejudging is over. And I've been tagged in like the NPC News Online photo of where my athlete was
Mhm.
so yeah, it's a nice touch for sure. And it definitely makes it feel special, but it's just hard to, if you haven't been to a lot of competitions, when you've been to hundreds of shows, you just recognize, okay, this show is just different. The
Yep.
city is different. it's walkable. Austin is very accommodating. Everyone's super friendly. I mean, there's plenty of like things to do, food. I stayed 4 days and I had a blast. I didn't want to leave. I decided to take a whole day Sunday to just kind of like sightsee. I went and saw a movie, went and had a couple drinks at brunch, just like made it a Sunday. And it just, every time I go to Austin, I like it more and more.
It's
Yeah,
great.
it's a neat city. Yeah. Well, let's talk really quick too, because Paul, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about this on the podcast. Let's talk about, we saw something that I don't think I've seen in a very long time on stage, a white suit on a bikini athlete.
Yeah, I actually asked her about it. So
Oh,
at
okay.
finals, so she had a competitor. We're talking about Sharon Ramos. If you
Yeah.
guys didn't watch the show, she had a competitor competing in the NPC. She's Dominican, very dark skinned. So the white suit suits her, because it's very contrasting. You got to, that's a part of it. But it was straight up white with maybe slight purple undertones. Like, or was it just white?
So I think what happens is why you think that there's a little bit of purple is it probably had a lot of AB stones. So the AB is, it has like a, I think it has like a, I don't know, type of backing that kind of makes it like glisten. So it kind of looks like maybe it has a purple undertone.
Yeah, so she rocked it, and I haven't seen one of those. I remember a girl turned pro a couple years ago.
Oh,
It might have been at nationals. I'm trying to remember the young lady's name. Um,
yeah.
but
I'm
yes,
looking at it right now on her Instagram. It's Anastasia suit. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's why she wore it, because her sponsor Anastasia was like, "Hey, if I make you a white suit, would you wear it?" And she goes, "Hell yeah!" Like, I love that. She was just like, "Yeah, what, like, what's it gonna hurt? Like, judges
It
might not
almost looks
like it."
silver. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked. Well, what's funny is I didn't really think about it much when they first came out, because she was in the top four, so she was in the
Hmm.
mix to win. I think she needed to be leaner, but it didn't hurt her. Like, I don't think her placing was negatively impacted by it. I don't think she was going to beat Raina or Nadai either way. They were both just better at that moment, but I think she got third. So like, it's not like she got like 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
And
I
and if
think
you're
my
doing a bunch of shows, like why not, right? And I
yeah.
think that kind of falls into the fit model conversation too. On if you're not sure what the criteria is and you're only going to plan on doing one or two shows, would you rather do a division that you're firm on the criteria on, or one that they're still trying to figure it out, right?
right.
She did say she's going to change her suit for this weekend. She's competing again, so.
Okay. Yeah,
It
I
looks
think
good. It looks really good.
the suit, yeah, I thought it was really pretty. I think it's just it's hard because like the tan and it's a very risky. Like if you're not careful, that tan could just
Yeah.
get
That's
on
the thing
the
about Sharon. She doesn't even have to worry about her tan. She could
that's
literally
true.
just put on like a
Glaze.
sheen and walk out on stage. She's got a really natural dark tone to her. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I wish I had an easy tanning experience. I mean, I have to shout out Protan. They are phenomenal. Like at this show, out of every tanning company I've ever had tan me, like they are so friendly. Like it's a long day for them. I mean, it's a long day for everybody, but backstage, like they were just so nice and accommodating. My tan, I don't know, always gets messed up, even though I'm careful. And they were like, I had like two girls working on me at one point in time. Like they're so sweet. So had to give them a little shout out.
I mean, you got to give it, whenever you have a Lisa Weisbaum there who kind of runs
Yeah.
Protan, man, she just goes above and beyond. I've even had her go to my competitors' rooms and hand apply as
Yeah.
needed. Like she will go. So like, yeah, I had a young lady competing, Valerie, and she's like, "Coach, I ruined my tan." And I go, "Did you pee?" She's like, "Yeah." I go, "Don't worry about it. Like just show up backstage. They'll fix it up." Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the perks of going through the actual tanning company too, is like if something
Yeah.
happens, just they'll do whatever they need to do to help you.
Yeah. So
It will.
yeah, I like mixing it up. And yeah, these girls do so many shows. I think, I talk about Christina making her pro debut and it's her fifth show of her life. Most of those pro competitors have done more than 50 shows at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, once you start racking up that many shows, I think some of them are just like, okay, let's just switch it up. Let's just try something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look, if you're backstage and even you didn't use the tanning company and your tan it's a little splotched or messed up, it doesn't hurt to ask them. A lot of the times they'll end up doing you a favor and helping you out anyways. Most of the people do this because they love the sport, right? And they don't want you to go out on stage and feel like you're not confident or not in a place that you want to be. Sometimes they won't, but sometimes they will. So never hurts to ask that.
Absolutely. I think there was a sign backstage at Republic, like it was like they said like $30 if we hadn't like if they hadn't bought the tan.
Mhm.
that they would help you out, but I don't know how they were regulating that. So
Yeah, it's
uh,
probably more of an honor system, I would think, more
yeah,
than anything.
for sure, for sure. Well, do we want to talk just like loosely some things we've noticed, like kind of separated between like things we've noticed with Fit Model, things we've noticed with
Mhm.
Bikini, just as a whole?
Yeah, I think there's plenty to discuss because
Lots.
especially Fit Model is evolving rapidly. I think
Yeah,
that's the
Yeah,
biggest change.
it
and in
is.
exciting ways to me.
I've definitely had, I'm sure you guys have had this too. I've definitely had a lot of my own athletes because a lot of them really want to understand, the criteria a little bit better. And they're like, coach, do you feel like Fit Model is getting more muscular or leaner, right? And I can understand why some people may think that, but I think also you have to consider how sometimes the trend of like the physiques are on a yearly basis, right? We do generally see slightly like softer looks earlier in the year, but I think specifically with Fit Model, we also have to consider that like their first couple of months, there were not a ton of Fit Model competitors at these shows, right? Therefore, the judges could only reward what showed up. And some of these girls, not for nothing, Fit Model was announced in December, right? So like the girls that were competing in Fit Model in January, February, think about it. They literally had a month or two to prepare, right? So I think what was being rewarded early on in the year was different than what's being rewarded now, just strictly because we have more of a pool of athletes to judge for Fit Model now. And again, just kind of the trend of physiques usually throughout the year is generally you'll see a little bit more of that conditioning later on in the year in general.
Two things that I've really noticed. Um, I think probably 90 to 95% of NPC competitors could do fit model or bikini. I think 90% probably fit the fit model criteria more than they fit high level bikini, more of them. And that's even girls on the national stage at bikini.
Mhm.
Second thing, and I kind of debated on going back and forth and mentioning this or not, but I think it's our job to kind of say what we see is while the judges were really harping on, hey, you need this 50% coverage in the back, there's been a lot of rewarding of suits that were not covering 50% in the back, that are a little bit smaller than that. And it's not everyone, but it's there, and they're definitely not moving those people out because of their suits. That's one thing that I've noticed on a few occasions. And to the point to where I think that little bit of a smaller suit, it's not like a bikini suit. It's not that revealing with it. It still is coverage, but it is less. And I think that some of the girls' glutes, it helps kind of push them over the edge and help them place a little bit better along with that. So I've noticed both those things, and the conditioning is significantly improved, especially in person, like especially in person, especially at
And
university.
especially at national shows. So the
Yes.
national athletes are coming in much leaner than the regional athletes. So what you're seeing at, I had a couple girls message me like, "Oh, look at these girls. They look great. They look very muscular." And I said, "Well, you're looking at a picture in person. They're not lean enough. And then when you see the pictures from nationals, some girls are like, "Oh, they look too lean." No, they just look leaner in the pictures than they do in person.
Yeah.
Like there's no hardness to these physiques. So yeah, it really, really, I'm going to say, I'll probably say this all year. It really reminds me of the early days of bikini, where there was just a huge variation between regional and national shows. Now, bikini has kind of leveled itself out. You know what you got to do to win in bikini at the NPC level before you go to nationals. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just the,
I,
the the delineation is not as good between regional.
I'll say this too. The girls are leaner and they're conditioned, but they're not hard. There's
Right.
still that softness to them, but they're
Right.
conditioned like these girls, especially at the national level. They're conditioned. They are just not hard as nails. Like they're
Yeah.
not dry. Like there's like their skin looks. It's like their skin looks just more vibrant. I
I was
don't
gonna
know
say
how
it
to
just
actually
looks healthy.
describe it.
Yeah, it just
It's
looks
just
healthy.
healthy.
It
It's just
it
an
looks
overall
like,
healthy
and
look.
for not everybody this might be true, but it looks like they could walk around like that.
Yeah.
It's still hard to get there, but it looks more versus like when you see a truly conditioned bikini athlete standing backstage, you're like, oh, you don't look well.
Jeez.
Like their faces are sunken in and they have that thin skin on their shoulders. Fit model,
Mhm.
you're not seeing that. Almost to the point where like when you see somebody backstage, you're like, they don't really look like you're about to compete. And when they get under the lights, they look better. You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, now I see
Yeah.
it.
And we
It's like those girls you see in the gym that have really good physiques that you're like, it's just a very impressive physique. That's
Yeah,
kind of what it translates to me. But then, and most people see these people, they're like, oh, do you compete? Do you compete? And a lot of these girls are like, no, you've never like actually seen like a high level bikini competitor, how peeled and hard they are, right? Um, but for most of the other side of it, it's just a very clean look.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before too. I think people at the beginning of the year really, well, I think some people kind of underestimated how much muscle fit model really does demand. And I don't say that in means of like, oh, it's not naturally obtainable. It's absolutely naturally attainable. But if you're trying to fulfill the criteria of, okay, you don't want to be overly lean to the point where you're seeing all these lines, all these striations, but you want to be lean enough for them to see muscle pop, right? You have to have that muscle foundation to support that, right? Because if you don't
Mhm.
have the muscle there, you're going to have to get really, really small and probably too lean to see the muscle that you do have, right? So you have to have a good base layer of muscle, for fit model. And I think that that's something a lot of people didn't really recognize or think about early on in the season. And I think that's why a lot more people now are like really liking the fit model division, because I think at the beginning of the year some people were like, oh, it's just going to be a division where anybody can do it, right? But that's not the case.
Not that, no. And I think a lot of it too is a lot of the fit model girls, when you don't have to diet to the level of leanness that you have to bikini, you're going to maintain just more muscle. And that's on anabolics or not. You're going to maintain more of that
yeah,
muscle. So you're going to be fuller. You're not depleted down near as much with that. And so that muscle retention is going to be there. You can flatten out a muscle from here till doomsday, but eventually you're going to keep flattening out to a point that just doesn't really want to do a lot anymore. Right. I think we've all ran into that. But with fit model, when you're not having to push to that extreme with the diet and the cardio and the nutrition, for a lot of them at least, it's just that fuller, cleaner look, right? It's the muscle looks healthier and fuller and bigger. Kind of like how most of
yeah.
us feel when we're competing to a show when we're like 6 weeks out. We know we're not all the way quite lean there yet, but we're good, we're full, we're like bursting. It's kind of that look.
Yep. Yeah, and I think so. This weekend, I had Brooklyn do this show because I wanted to get her feedback before
Hmm.
USA's. Um, and no disrespect to the other competitors at this show, but there was nobody else there. It was not, and I think it's different from state to state right now. Like I think the girls in Texas are still very bikini wellness driven.
Hmm.
Texas is
Yeah,
a bodybuilding
it's
state.
a that is a
Right.
bodybuilding state.
Yeah. So I think and I've actually talked to some coaches that are like, no, I'm not coaching fit model. I'm like, okay, it's just bodybuilding. But I think there's still a mindset of like, oh, I'm not doing that division because it's not bodybuilding, right? Which is what bikini and
Yeah.
men's physique were when they started. Now look at them. But so I think the athletes that did fit model at this show, while a lot of them looked great, anybody that I think that was relatively muscular and lean did the bikini division instead. The bikini
Hmm.
division was much larger than the fit model division. There was a decent
Mm.
number of fit model, but Brooklyn, it wasn't close. It just she came
Yeah.
out dominated, and then we got feedback from Bill, and guess what the feedback was? Just
Coming
come in
just
a
like
little
that.
tighter for national, right? It's
Tighter.
like, yeah, and so
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I just
It's
looked up a picture. She looked great. She looked
She
great.
did. She did. She's got a really beautiful look too to her. Like
oh, listen, I just want her to
it's
get her damn pro card so she can go have another kid. That's what we've been working for this.
yeah, she mentioned that backstage.
Yeah.
I was sitting with her and she mentioned that she wants to maybe expand her family after this season. So I was happy that she got that overall because
I mean, listen, she got
And
back to work on Sunday. She's like, "Let's go. We got 2 weeks. Let's finish this job." We've been in front of every judge that's going to be there this year. We've done
well,
the work. She's ready to go. We're going to be at our best. The surprise for me
and
was actually the bikini division because I was at this show last year and I thought my girl Blanca was going to win the overall. The young lady Ashley Senna actually ended up winning. Um, and so I was like, I wanted the damn overall. And so Valerie was my like, she's spectacular. So I want to paint a picture for the differences between these two divisions. So Valerie, at 5'3", 5'4", she was in class C, was 118 on stage. Brooklyn at 5'6", 5'7", she was in class. Well, when she did bikini, she was class G, C to G, 118 on stage. There you go.
How tall is Valerie? Because I know she normally was class D, right? It was kind of weird that
Five,
you put her in.
yeah, you want to say 5'3" or 5'4". She was class C here. I'm guessing she'll be D at nationals just because,
Okay,
they'll add the height classes. They only
probably
did
like five
6.
four. Yeah.
Yeah, so roughly 118, whatever. Now, we need to be a pound or two leaner, but my point is they're relatively the same weight, much different heights, and Valerie was a little leaner but more bubbly in the glutes and stuff. So, there is a density to bikini that you need to have to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's a great comparison. I think that really kind of puts things into perspective for people too.
And a shout out to the rest of Brooklyn's family. Her mom and her sister will both be doing Fit Model in a few months.
Yeah,
Oh,
That'll
and
be a
you
whole,
coach both of them still,
I
right?
coach both of them. Yes. So that'll be a
Yeah.
whole family of Fit models.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were at the Amateur Olympia last year, and it was just awesome to see them hanging out.
I
That's great.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny though, because you're so right, Paul. It seems like there are certain states where fit model is still kind of small. And I also feel like we saw that at the St. Pete Pro show too.
Yeah, right?
It was a big bikini show, tiny for fit model. But it was interesting because like earlier this year, which this was like the first show in Florida, Girl Power, it was like the opposite. There were so many fit model. And then, I mean, bikini wasn't small, but it was smaller. So it's just very interesting, I don't know. It's very interesting to observe these numbers. And I'm really curious too for this weekend. So obviously this podcast will come out on Monday after this has happened, but we have Masters Nationals. And I actually have a Masters client in Fit Model going. And so I'm just really curious to see, especially for Masters, how many Fit Model girls there are in each class.
It was pretty big at Universe.
Yeah.
The classes were larger than I was expecting because they only did the 35 and the 40s. They're not doing 45s or 50s yet. I don't think at Masters Nationals they are. Maybe they're doing 50s. I don't know.
I think they are for Fit Model.
Okay.
I think they are because my client, she's 45, 46. I think we're doing whatever the highest she was able to do
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
Are they giving out pro cards for those divisions?
I need to double
Yeah.
check. I think
Yeah.
so.
Class
Yeah.
winners, if I think there's a minimum of 5 requirement.
Yeah.
So
And the only
yeah,
reason I asked that is it like at Pittsburgh, right? They had like over 50 for bikini for the
Oh,
national,
yeah.
but there was no pro card given out for that.
yeah, because the number wasn't there. So, but the over 40 and the over 35 did get their pro card. So
Well, I'm curious about like of trends, fit model versus bikini. Do you guys feel like you've seen more of like younger athletes doing fit model and then still like the masters athletes, a lot of them doing bikini, or do you feel like it hasn't really changed? Because I feel like for fit model, it's good for a lot of the younger athletes who don't have that muscle maturity quite yet or that muscle density, right? But I'm just curious what you guys have noticed, if you've noticed like different ages kind of going or gravitating towards one division.
If it's talking about like my clients, I think a lot of them, the more masters competitors are starting to lean into the fit model. The more they see it, they're starting to lean into it much more than I thought they would with that. And there's a few other I wish that would because I think they could walk in and do very, very well, but their heart's not in it. They don't want to do it. They'd rather do bikini. And I told them just my goal is to put them in the best position to place as good as they can possibly place. And that decision is up to them on where they want to go with that. But, surprisingly, I thought it would be more younger females. But I think a lot of people didn't know the Masters divisions were going to be there as much as they are. And the numbers are pretty good. And I think that's attracting more and more people, especially as the look improves. And look, the look is improving. A lot of my athletes have looked at the initial pictures and like they didn't like it. And now they're looking at them more now and being like, oh, this is good, especially because people are getting the poses down much better, especially the stallion pose in the front.
well, and I think once you have someone that represents the division, we still don't have that person. We still don't have someone that you go, oh, that's fit model. Like if you look back historically, I always talk about the days of bikini when it was 40 to 50 girls per class at nationals, and like getting top 10 at nationals was a big freaking deal. Now there's not even 10 girls in some of these classes at nationals.
Yeah.
So when I talk about the glory days, that's it. I'm not
Yeah.
high on the past. Literally the numbers show it. Your champion in the bikini division, or your girls that were always fighting for the titles, were girls that people really wanted to look like. People
Mhm.
loved Janet Leung and Courtney King and Ashley Kaltwasser, who's still around. But like, and at that time, that's what women, they saw that and go, I want to do that. And I think to a degree still, Laura is still like that girl that everyone's like, wow,
Yes.
like, she's walking around in Texas, and I've been friends with her for a few years now. So, but I still hear people behind me go, oh, that's Laura. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
Laura. Like, it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah, right.
so, or like she was in the gym on Friday when I was there with my athletes. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, Laura Lee's here," and I was like, "Yeah, just go say hi, dude. She's so nice. Just go talk to
Yeah.
her."
Oh my gosh, yes, I can totally attest to that. I've had athletes do the same thing. They're like, "Oh my God, it's Laura Lee." I'm like, go say hi
So
to her.
the
I'll take
so
a picture."
Bikini still has that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fit Model, while we've had some like overall champions and we've had some girls do well, we haven't had that person that just kind of gets everyone to like congeal around them and go, that's what I love. And when we have that, it's probably because I've actually talked to a couple of promoters who are already saying, I don't know if I'm going to keep Pro Bikini next year or switch to Pro Fit Model.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I,
Yeah.
I think you're completely right, but once there's that pro that catches everybody's eye, and part of me crossed my fingers in hopes that Janet does go do that because I think she would just fall into that arms wide open and be exactly that,
I
right?
mean,
For the
he
division.
walks around leaner than you're even allowed to be for Fit Model right
I
now. She
know,
would have
I
to
know.
soften
I
up.
was gonna say she could just literally walk on stage and just
She
do it.
could.
Battle show.
Just her presentation, all of it, right? Like having
Yeah.
that the pageant background, like she would just destroy it, right? And I don't know of a single female that would look at Janet on stage and think, I don't want to look like that.
Right.
Right.
Men, women, they all see Janet and think, okay, that's like that's was made in a lab. That's flawless.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So
She's
yeah,
AI. She's not real.
yeah, I
She's
don't know if she
artificial
even has
intelligence.
interest in competing anymore. I don't know. I'll probably ask her at Battle of the Bodies. It might be the next time I see her. So yeah, I think, but even if we just have somebody like win an overall at one of these national shows, or somebody that represents the division along the way, but what you're going to see is a lot of my natural pros switch over. They've already
Mhm.
asked me about it, and so they're just waiting to get the confirmation.
I think it's either going to take like a big name pro to switch over to kind of garner that, or a person with a massive social media following that ends up winning their pro
Right.
card. That could like flip a switch or something like that. Like
Yeah.
imagine like a female version of Sam Sulek or something winning their pro card, right? That could
Yeah.
completely flip everything overnight
Like a Chris
for that.
Bumstead, like a female version of Chris that kind of makes everybody want to do that sport.
Yeah.
That
I
would
mean,
be.
classic physique is classic physique
And I
because of
feel
Chris
like
Bumstead.
early
Yeah.
days of bikini, that's what it was. A lot of those girls had massive followings on Instagram. And now, you'll go look up somebody's Instagram from an overall at like, universe, and you're like, they don't even have a following. Like,
Yeah.
I
so
know.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, that's funny because like I think I discovered the world of competing when Paul, you'll appreciate this because I know like remember the days of like the YouTube bloggers like Amanda Bucci, Emily Hayden,
Of course.
Marie Wald. Like I remember like I started watching them and that's kind of like how I got into
and
understanding and knowing
that's when the
what competing
sport was
was.
the biggest. You
Yeah.
saw those girls, you thought, wow, I really like this. So I had the fortune of knowing all of them. Good friends with Amanda, who was coached at that time by Will. I was coaching Emily. Marie was coached by Cliff. Like we were all big coaches in
Yes.
the natural bodybuilding world, coaching these females who were in the bikini division. And I'll never forget Amanda. I was out in Venice training with Emily, and she put me in her YouTube video. And this is back when I was doing YouTube
Yeah.
and not much was happening. And I literally woke up one day and had like thousands of subscribers and views. And I was like, what happened? I could
Oh
not
my
figure it
gosh.
out. And then someone commented like, "Oh, I came here from Amanda's video." And I went to her page and I was like, "Oh, she talked about me in her video." So like little
Yeah.
things like that. But I don't know that that's happening now. I feel like a lot of the influencers now are more in the negative space where we hear about, bashing the sport or bashing other competitors or bashing this approach or that
Yeah.
approach. I don't see anybody bringing positive light and energy to the sport as from the competitor side. So yeah, maybe, even there was a young lady that just turned pro, Ali Prince,
Yeah.
and people were sending me some of her protocols, and I could be wrong, but like fasting for multiple days on bone broth, and
I got
I'm
sent that
like,
too.
okay, like that's completely unnecessary. And I think she's been quite open with her drug protocols that are maybe aggressive, and I could be wrong here, but like that's not something that I think is going to draw people into the sport. Even though
Yeah.
she's open and she's an awesome competitor, she turned pro, and congrats to her. You know, what made Amanda and Emily and Marie really pop at that time, and I think Emily, what's Emily?
Oh, and Dunk.
Emily Duncan. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
another one. Like
I watched
they were
all of
just
them.
they were
Yeah,
so well spoken. They documented the sport, but they also were like building their own businesses and going to
yeah.
expos, and like they were a
Yeah.
part of the space. I don't know that there's females doing a lot of that right now. Maybe you're the
You're
best one, Lexi.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, if you're not following me on YouTube, please do. Hey guys, the more views I get, the more it grows, the more content I will put out for you guys.
Right.
But no, I kind of agree with you, Paul, because I have people that will ask me, sometimes like clients, they'll be like, do you have any good YouTube recommendations outside of like your own channel that like people you watch, right? Competitors. And I hate to see it, but like they're really, I can't think of anybody that maybe this is just me, but like I don't watch a ton of other competitors who are vlogging on YouTube. Like there's no like Amanda's or Emily's anymore. And like I used to watch all of those people. Like truth be told, like I said, I think they are the ones that kind of inspired me to get into the competing world. And now that I think about it, Paul, maybe that's how I discovered you was in one of Amanda's
100%.
videos. Like
100%.
I don't remember. I just remember being in high school and loving all of their content and just being so inspired by not only the fact that they were competing, but like the fact that like, you said they were building their businesses and they just competing seemed like such a positive additive in their life. Whereas I think now you do see some more people documenting their preps on YouTube and hey, I appreciate the realness, but sometimes you see people documenting their preps and it's like, as an outsider watching in, you see some of the things they're doing and you're like, ooh, that it deters you from ever wanting to do the sport.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but
Well, and maybe with the addition of the new division, more people will document the fit model process and be like, okay, and maybe it'll draw some more people in, because if you get,
yeah,
young, well-spoken people with great energy and beauty and all the things that draw people in, if you get them documenting it, it could draw people in.
yeah,
Because the other thing was, not for nothing, Amanda Bucci never turned pro.
right.
Emily fought for her pro card. We finally turned pro at USA's. Marie Wold, I don't think ever turned pro. So it's not that they were like these big champions. Emily Duncan, I don't think she ever got a pro card. She was always fighting for it.
No, no.
So
Yeah,
like they were just really good about documenting what was going on.
that's
Yeah.
that's a great point. Yeah, and I just have to give a shout out to like I was so taken back by how many like people even for my show this weekend, like no, I'm not the best competitor out there, but like how much support I was getting like in messages, like in DMs, like I was just so taken back. And I think
Yeah.
like that was just so cool to see. And it kind of motivates me too to continue to like share the journey because you don't always realize how many people like watch you and maybe look
Yeah.
up to you until something like that happens. And it's like a good reminder of like, wow, like I am inspiring people out there that I don't even know, right? And it kind of it motivates me to continue documenting the journey.
This podcast, hands down, and thank you guys that stop and say hello.
Yeah.
Probably 25 times this weekend. I was just standing like either on the elevator, not even around the show. I was backstage, I was at a restaurant. Hey, love the podcast, and so like,
Yeah.
yeah, keep doing that, guys, because it does
We
encourage
love
us.
it. And we're getting
Um,
more and more and more of that too. I mean, Paul, when we were at Universe, I mean, you went to the bathroom and two or three people came up to me. They were with other coaching teams, and they just said how much they enjoy the podcast and how it's really nice to know that it's not so nichey as like a lot of people think with it. And
right.
even though, and two people told me like just, we feel like we can listen to you, even though we work with other coaches and we really enjoy it. And that's the purpose of all of this
Yeah.
is to just spread good, positive, helpful information out there. And the
Never,
more
never
consults I
once have
get
I
on,
ever said that we
yeah,
know everything and we have all the
no,
answers. We're just sharing our journey. I think as you build a resume as a coach, you start to lose some of that imposter syndrome that you had. And I've, outside of winning Olympia, I don't know anybody that has a better resume than me as far as number of pro cards, overalls, Olympia. So like, I feel confident that I've kind of proven my track record, but I'm still open to learning more and
Mhm.
talking to other coaches about what they're doing and the evolution of the sport. So yeah,
I mean,
we're never going to be up on a hill telling everybody how it is.
I mean, even
No.
the time that I've been here, Paul, and the time I've known you, like the how you've grown and progressed, and how your thought process has changed on a lot of things from when I first met you to where it is now is vastly different, right? You're always trying to learn and grow and improve, and that's why you're really good at what you do, and why you're still here.
That's the
Right.
job. That's the job.
Well,
It's, you know,
on that note too, the podcast, should we share that what we're doing on August 10th?
yeah, August 10th, free seminar. We're going to do a live podcast,
Yes.
posing and some training at Brett's gym, the Glute Lab in Fort Lauderdale. Do not ask for the address. It's a private gym. You will be invited for the event. We are not charging, but we are asking that people sign up so we can accommodate appropriately. So if you go to prophysique.com/events, it'll be listed there.
Yeah. And I think we're capping it. I know I talked to Jamaica at like 50 people.
Yes.
So by the time this comes out, it'll have been open for like a week. So if you're interested, definitely please go and sign up.
And here's the thing, because it's free, don't sign up unless you're going to come. Because
I
if
was
you
just
sign
gonna,
up and we tell somebody they can't come and you don't come, you are going to be on the bad list. Santa will not bring you a present. You will get coal in your stocking.
yeah, that's always the risk with free events. But yes, hopefully can have a good honor system. It'll be fun. I'm excited to do the
I'm
live.
sure we'll do a follow-up like a couple days out and reach out and say, hey, just want to see if you're attending. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just it's basically just going to be a day of fun, camaraderie. We may have a couple sponsors jump in because we just have a lot of friends in that area of the state that may want to help out. But really, it's just going to be a free event for us. I mean, I love just meeting people, hanging out. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited though. The live podcast is something we've never done before. So I'm excited to
yeah,
bring that to
yeah.
life.
So the people that are there will be asking the questions. So this will be a very like
That'll be fun.
one-on-one, like actually
Absolutely.
getting into the nitty-gritty of the sport. And Brett's going to be there.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, is there any other things, or there are other things you guys have noticed just trend wise, bikini fit model, that we haven't kind of touched on this
The
far?
biggest one for me is at the national stage, the number, so like at junior nationals, the last national show that didn't have masters, they went from 125 to 80 in bikini in 1 year. Oddly enough, they added 45 fit model girls. So that's interesting to me because I feel like there's more competitors competing at the national level in fit model than there are at the regional level,
I agree with
right?
that.
Like the national shows have been bigger than the regional shows, which is
Yep.
always the case. But, um, to see a show like St. Pete where we had like what, 12 fit model and like maybe 100 something bikini, like it was pretty big bikini. And then you go to Universe and the bikini division got way smaller and fit model was like 91 girls. So it was like, oh, okay. And the girls that did bikini at St. Pete looked phenomenal. That overall,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think at least two of them turned pro that I know of.
Yeah, two of them turned pro.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. You think about it, like two of the class winners and the no, no, she didn't win the overall. Two of the class winners at Universe were at the same show a week before in Florida. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is a trend, but I do feel like I've noticed a little bit more at shows, like the format of not doing individual routines at prejudging and doing
Yeah.
because I know at St. Pete, and this could also just be if it's a pro AM show, but I feel like those are a lot of the shows I go to, and usually like I've noticed that they have not had the amateurs do their individual routine at prejudging. They just do comparisons, and then at finals they have everybody do their individual routine. And I know that's not like a brand new thing, but I just am noticing more and more of that this year specifically.
Yeah. I've also noticed at Universe, they specifically said, now, I don't want to get in trouble with the NPC. So if you NPC are listening and I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But the competitors told me, they said, if you are in second callouts, you do not have to come back for finals.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
judges said, we're not penalizing people. We're not
Cool.
mad if you don't come back for finals because you're only just literally walking out on the stage. They're saying your name and you're walking off. So if you're in second callouts and it's 10 a.m. and you don't want to come back at 7 p.m., you can start your vacation. You can start your day off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a, you bring that up and I noticed that they did this at Pittsburgh where it was like the top 5. They just and I heard a couple competitors because I know I have a friend who was kind of upset about this, like they didn't tell them until finals right before they were
Right.
going on that like, oh, only top 5 is going to go on. So it's kind of upsetting for people that were beyond the top 5 that they came back, got all
Yeah.
glammed up, for finals, and then we're told, oh, you're not going on stage. But I have noticed at some of the bigger shows, I think it's probably in an effort to just let it flow a little bit quicker. Like they're only bringing back the top 5 and doing awards, and then the rest are kind of just like dismissed. So I have noticed a little bit more of that too.
Yep. And
I
that's
think that's a respectful thing to do if they can do that, right? Show days are long, 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 long. And yeah, I always tell my competitors, unless they tell you don't show up, show back up, because if anything, it's going to make your time when you are out there that much sweeter along with that. And, I always just look at it, if things don't go your way, you still show up, right? You still show up the way you're supposed to show up.
I'd
And
prefer it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But look, if you're just going to walk across your stage and like kind of hit a front pose for literally 3 seconds and walk off, and the judges don't say you have to come back, I get not needing you to come back.
Well, let's finish on a controversial topic. It's not maybe that controversial, but I've heard it being talked about. I had this conversation with Komodo this weekend, and I've had it with other coaches and promoters because they ask my opinion on the sport, and it's my strong belief, and I probably said it on here, that they're giving away way too many pro cards right now. For the numbers in the sport, I understand that they're trying to grow the numbers of the fit model division, so they're giving out like top 2 at the national shows, but in bikini, when you have 80 competitors, you shouldn't be giving out 16 pro cards. I just don't understand the correlation there.
No.
Yeah, I would agree.
And
I
I
don't
don't follow the men's division as closely, Evan. I don't know if the numbers support the number of pro cards they're giving out. But, there's like 58 guys qualified for the men's physique Olympia. And
It's way
I feel like you
too
have to have
many.
more amateurs than pros. And I think, especially at this Republic of Texas show, I think there was more pros than amateurs. And that's
I
only
know there
with 2
was.
divisions. That's bikini and men's physique. Oh, no, no. And wellness.
I was looking at some of the pictures of men's physique guys. The guy that won the overall, I think, was very impressive.
Even
But
Cal? Or are you talking about the MTC
Republic
guy?
of Texas,
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
um,
no, Texas has some
they always bring out some good
beef. Yeah.
talent. It's too many. It's too many. And if you go to, they truly need to do it just based off the number of entries, right? If there's like, there was one bikini class ball that had 6 girls in it. At
Yeah.
Universe, 6 open girls, 6.
Yeah.
And then th- they need to figure something out because the heights are so incremental, right? Maybe they need to reduce the number of classes there are. That could be
I
an easy
love
way
the
to do it.
idea of overall or top 2, like the way the Arnold Amateur does it and the Amateur Olympia does it. You got to get to the overall,
And look,
so
there's no
like,
reason to go up by an inch and a half. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
right.
That's way too many.
Well, it
And
used
why
to
is
have to be
classic
that way.
physique 4?
If you
Classic
look
physique
at
is
the early
4.
years of bikini, there was 50 to 60 because they only did 4 classes and then they split it up and then they kept splitting it up. But like, I
I
think,
mean, but even at Universe, there were some classes that had 23 girls, and then some classes that had 7, and in one class
right,
that had 6. Like
right.
they need to do a better job of making the classes more competitive, like spreading the numbers out. I think that would be smart, and just
I
reducing the number of overall classes is the
Well,
easiest
you
way
got
to
to
do
get rid
that.
of second place pro cards at shows like that.
Yeah,
Second in a class of 6 or 8 and you turn pro, you're not ready to be a pro. You haven't won.
no,
Yeah.
like there needs to be a minimum of 16 to 20 people in a class for that minimum.
I agree. Yeah, I think that would be. eh, Yeah, I
It
feel like.
just makes the sport better. It makes
Oh yeah.
the competitors have to
Yeah,
level up. If they know
yeah,
that the girl that got second is going to be at the next show, they've got to level up.
yeah. And there was a girl at Junior Nationals that just missed her pro card by 1 spot. Um, my client Brittany told me she just missed her pro card by 1 spot. She walked out. That girl was super impressive. She won her class here. If they would have given out a second place pro card at Junior Nationals, she wouldn't even been at this show,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
someone else would have got a pro card that may or may not have deserved it. This girl deserved it here.
Yeah. I mean, I think the point of giving out a lot of pro cards when they come out with a new division is, yeah, let's get the division going. But I would argue there was 47 bikini pros competing. I don't know if there was that.
47.
I don't know if there was that many bikini competitors in the NPC. It should not be
Oh,
that way.
I don't think there was.
That show. Valerie's class, she was class C, probably had 8, 9, and then Lexi, you were in class B. How many were in your class? Probably similar, 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are good sized classes for an NPC show, but you know, 7 times 6, that's 42. So they're, let's say on average, it's probably less than the, I don't know. I just think the NPC should be bigger than the IFBB.
Yeah,
And that at
5.
this point, everyone's going to be in the IFBB.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting time, but I don't know. We're living history. It's kind of fun. I remember
Yeah.
having this thought back in December when they announced Fit Model. I was like, it's really cool that we're like living in the midst
Yeah.
of this new division being announced. And like, it just, I don't know. It's cool to think like 10 years from now, we'll be able to think back and like just share that we went
Well, and
through.
you know, USA's is right around the corner, and USA's last year was teeny tiny. So I'm going to be curious to see how it is
That.
this year. Yeah.
So
I
I
remember
just
that.
looked up the numbers for Republic of Texas, and you're right. I think there was, it was a quick count, but I think there was 41
Yeah.
NPC bikini girls there, and so
Yep.
there was more pros there, and that's just the open. I'm just counting just the open, not
Yeah.
the overall numbers.
Yep. Yeah. I only ever count the open. When someone's like, oh, there's like, you know, I think at St. Pete, someone was like, oh, there's 120 bikini. And I was like, is there? Because like none of the classes are bigger than 10.
Yeah.
But that's with like novice, true novice,
Yeah,
all the I think they're counting the athlete with the crossovers.
they
So,
count. That's one thing I've noticed now is they're not counting individuals; they're counting with crossovers for numbers. Yeah,
yeah, so one person can be as many as 4 if they're doing true novice, novice, masters, and open. That's 4 competitors. No, it's 1. So that's why when you go to true novice, there's like 22 girls in true novice A, and then you go to open A and there's 4.
yep.
Because all those true novice A's are actually in B, C, D, and E in the open A.
Oh,
And,
yes.
and that's why I go back to that. They just reduce the overall number of classes, right? That
Right.
it would get rid of a lot of this. Like if there's 40 girls there, why does it go up to H?
Yeah.
Yeah. Used to
Right.
be because to qualify for nationals, you had to be top 2. And I think a lot of times they're like, hey, we want more girls going to nationals. But
I get it. But if
but
there's and it's advantageous for a very small subset of girls that have 2 or 3 in their class, and then you would have someone like Lexi to have 9 or 10 or 11 in her class, right? So it's just that
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not that it ever needs to be fair, right? But it's the numbers just kind of don't make sense sometimes with that,
yeah. I've always jokingly thought I'm like I sometimes hate my height
right?
because it's like it's always that most common height. But the way I look at it, I'm competitive by nature. I've always been that way. I was a
Mhm.
competitive gymnast growing up. Like I would prefer that rather than being in a class that always just has barely anybody in it and then just winning by default. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
But yeah. Well, to end it, Paul, do you have any funny stories from Austin? Like I know that in the past years there's been some interesting street encounters. Did you have any funny thing happen to you?
It felt like there was a few less homeless people than I remember in the past. Um, yeah, no, everything seemed pretty normal. The gym was good. No, I don't think anything funny came up. I ended up finding a new part of Austin, Second Street. Like I walked all the way down to go to the movies and I was like, oh, there's a whole other area because I started, you know, I always go over to Sixth Street to go to Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
But then when I went down to go to this movie theater, I found this whole other area. And I was like, it's down by like where the Four Seasons is. And it was gorgeous there. I think I
Oh.
put some stories up where there's like all the trees have lights in them, a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
walking paths. And I'm like, man, like it made me like mad that this is my 5th year going to Austin and I just found this area.
That's
So
funny.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
I only had one encounter. I told you about it, Paul, that there was like a lady with with no pants on yelling at me as I was walking over to the venue.
Yes.
That was a little odd, but other than that,
Oh,
nothing.
I know what was odd to me was the driverless Ubers. I hadn't seen that in person.
Yes. Did you
Oh, you saw one?
my mom took one, Paul. Did
One,
you end up
there's
taking it?
dozens, they're everywhere.
Oh, there.
Did you end up taking one, Paul?
No, I just walked everywhere.
Oh, okay. Cause yeah, my mom took one and she said it was it was a really cool experience. Apparently, like at the top of the car lights up with your initials before you get in, and it's connected to the Uber app, and you just like click something on the Uber app and it unlocks. And I don't know. And they look like normal cars too. It's
They were
kind of
driving quickly because I was watching them, and they move. They're not like going slow. They're moving.
I'll tell you this. I have that full service drive on my Tesla, and it is crazy how it drives. It's in and out of traffic. If someone comes up behind you, if you're in the left lane and someone comes up behind you and they need to pass, it'll move over so they pass and go right back. It's a better driver than I am, like significantly. It'll put itself in situations like, how do you even get out of this? And it will always do it. It's crazy. It is
That's-
crazy.
oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Fascinating.
They also had delivery robots. I don't know if you saw those, Lexi. They were like these little boxes on wheels that had a top.
Oh,
Like it drove to the location, and then you had a code to open the food because I was asking.
Oh,
that's so cool.
that's
I
neat.
did see, I think I told you this, Paul. I don't know. You probably saw it if you flew Southwest, but they had a little robot barista in the airport, like a little kiosk, and you would order
Mhm.
your coffee, and like it was inside, it had a robot arm and it showed the coffee being made. I thought that was so cool. I almost got it when I flew back, but they didn't really have a big menu. So yeah, but that was really cool. The Austin airport is, I mean, I honestly could have just spent a lot of time in there. It was kind of there's a lot going on in there. But
All right.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess that wraps up our topic for today. So yeah, if you've listened thus far, what should we have them comment?
I don't know. What's the hot topic right now? Comment. I don't know. Comment. Wow. This is what's going to happen if I say comment that you're coming to the seminar. They'll be like, come to Minneapolis. Come to Canada. Like,
Yeah.
we are going to do we are looking to do Command the Stage in San Diego later this year.
Yeah.
But that's a paid event, that's
Yeah.
catered, and that's a lot more that's a lot more formal. This one on the 10th of August is going to be just fun. Just come hang out.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need to see if we can get someone to make us like a graphic of the three of us for like a live podcast so we can put out
I
Oh,
already
that's-
talked. Yeah, I already
yeah.
talked to Jamaica
Sarah
about
can do it.
that. I was like, we need to do that.
yeah.
Yep.
So
And we also got to figure out the technical aspect of recording it.
Yes,
Yeah.
microphones,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
fun.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening.
Talk soon.